we're back to working on the Coyote swap new edge. I got the fuel tank snatched out of this thing. And I know in my last video I said that I was gonna get to working on the wiring, but I laid out the wiring across the front of the car and I was like, holy shit, let me sit back and think about this. So I've got a better idea of what I want to do with the plumbing as far as the fuel system. So I'm gonna show y'all what I'm gonna do to modify the top hat and to run the fuel lines for a return style fuel system for this. All right, so for the fuel system, I'm gonna be running this C5 Corvette fuel filter pressure regulator. And this will take the place of our stock fuel filter. It regulates the pressure to 58 PSI, and that seems to be the perfect pressure for a Coyote swap. It came with these fittings. These are 3/8 and 5/16 to -6 fittings, and it came with this fitting, which is a 3/8 to -6 fitting, and I added this -6 to 5/16 fitting, so it will plug right into the factory fuel lines. And I got the fuel line here. This is -6 PTFE fuel line. I ordered 10 foot of this, and I ordered a handful of fittings, 290s. I believe I got 4 straights and some more of the 3/8 fuel line to -6 and 5/8 fuel line to -6 adapters. Also have a -6 bulkhead fitting, and I'm going to drill a hole in the top hat beside the supply. Put this in there so that way we'll have a return. And all these fittings and fuel lines I'm using in this video, I'm gonna do my best to link everything in the description below just in case y'all want to go the same route I'm going. All right, so for the fuel hat, what I want to do is I'm going to drill a hole about this size right beside the supply, and then we'll run this fitting through with these 2 washers to seal it, run the fitting through, and then that will be our return. And usually before you pull the top hat off, you want to blow off or brush off the top of the fuel tank, so that way you don't get any trash or dirt down in there. Let me get this popped off. That's in the freaking way. And if you're gonna pull the fuel tank, you'll need a set of these for all these stupid fuel lines. There we go. And I already have a DW300 fuel pump in here that, according to DeechWorks, they said I can use in a return style fuel system. So I'm gonna trust what they say and I'm gonna run it. We'll get this top hat off. All right, so I used the washer to gauge about where I wanted the hole. And then I marked it, used the center punch. Now we can drill a hole. All right, I'm gonna start out with a 3/16 drill bit, and then we'll use the step bit to do the rest of the work. Let me make sure all these wires are out of the way. Got a good fit, no play. That ought to work. Alright, this should be good. Hopefully it won't leak. It looks good. Yeah, that might be a little bit of an issue. I'll have to put the tank up in the car and see if it hits. But at least I can make the fuel lines now, so. Alright, so this is the 3/8 to -6 fitting. I like to put a little bit of WD-40 on the O-rings in here, just so it slides a little better. Just push it on. Give it a little twist. And then you tighten the sleeve up to it. Put a wrench on it, snug it up a little bit. That's all it needs. It's good to go. So this fuel filter slash pressure regulator, it will literally clip into the factory location right there. It'll clip right in. You might have to bend the tab here a little bit and right here, but it'll clip right in place. Factory fuel line should clip right in. Right, and that's what it looks like. So I've already made up the fuel line that goes from the stock fuel line on the car all the way to the Coyote rail. And that consists of a 5/16 to 6 AN adapter to a 6 AN straight. And this is 3.5 foot of -6 line all the way to a -6 straight and a -6 to 3/8 fuel line adapter. So that's what it took to make up that line, and we'll knock out the rest. All right, on the hose length, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just kind of guessing. I put 2 fittings on each end of the hose, got them connected to the fuel filter up there. Kind of eyeball what I think I'm gonna need. And that should be plenty there. All right, so like I showed you, I just eyeballed this. It's not really an exact measurement, but I think it's close enough. All right, so this is the part of the video where I decided to overcomplicate this shit out of how to put these fuel lines together. So I'm gonna use a leftover fitting and a piece of fuel line to break it down a little better. Once you've got it measured and marked and you know where you want to make your cut, you want to take a piece of tape and you want to wrap it around the fuel line. You want to try to do this dead center over where you want to make your cut. Once you got the tape up there like you want, the easiest and cleanest way to cut one of these fuel lines is with a cutoff wheel. You want to cut dead center of where you put your tape. So let's get some safety glasses on and we'll get to cutting. You want to do this slowly, let the cutoff wheel do the work, and you want to try to make your cut as straight as you can possibly get it. Now you got your cut, nice and clean. Peel the tape off and make sure you take the tape off. I've seen idiots leave the damn tape on the fuel line and put it all together and it looks like hell. So take the damn tape off and get it out of here. Look how clean that is. Nice clean cut. You may be asking, like, now what do you do about all the dust and dirt and stuff you just made by cutting it with the grinder? I'm not going to worry about doing it because this is just a little sample piece of I'm showing y'all how to put this together. But normally you'd want to hose it out with brake clean and compressed air to blow all the debris out of it. So I'm not going to worry about it, but make sure you clean the crap out of it. Brake clean, WD-40, lacquer thinner, something, and blow compressed air through it. Now with these fittings, you got the collar, the ferrule, and the fitting itself. Slip the collar on. And now once your collar is on, you want to make sure you put the collar on first before you do this. If not, you're going to catch hell trying to get it on. So now what you want to do is you want to separate the stainless braided line from the PTFE. You can take this pocket screwdriver and separate the stainless line from the PTFE. All right, now once you got the stainless line separated from the PTFE, I'll put the ferrule on the PTFE hose. Should give it a little tap on the table. There's a little lip on the inside that you want that PTFE hose all the way up to that little lip on the ferrule. Now we can put the fitting on. Put a little WD-40 on it, make it slide a little better. And we'll just slip it in there. Kind of work it in a circular motion. Make sure it's all the way in there. You pull the collar up to it and tighten it down. Once you get it as tight as you can by hand, we'll clamp it in the vise here and tighten it down the rest of the way. These little vise pads, you can get these on Amazon. They keep the fittings looking pretty, keep you from marring them up instead of using 2 wrenches that can slip and mess up the finish. I'll try to link them down in the description below. So we'll get this tightened up. And once it starts getting close, I want to pay attention because I want all the flats to line up just so it looks better. A little more. There we go. That's all she needs. Pretty simple. There's not really much to them. Shouldn't leak. We're good to go. Let's get the rest of the fuel system put together. All right, we got all the plumbing done on the fuel system. All the fittings are tight. And since I can't turn the key on to prime the system and check for leaks, I'm gonna use a battery and jump the fuel pump to turn it on to check for leaks. So let me show you how I'm gonna do that, or what I got rigged up to do that. All right, so on the pigtail, if you look at the wires on the pigtail, you got a brown with the pink. It's the bigger gauge wires on the pigtail. You've got a brown with a pink tracer, and you got a black. The black is the ground. The brown with the pink tracer is the power for the fuel pumps. Got a ground, got a power. Let's jump the fuel pump and check it. Got a ground. Oh, yes, sir. Y'all hear that? Fuel pump's on. I don't see any leaks. I got a gauge up here on the fuel rail. We'll check the pressure. Pressure's looking good. Almost 60. About 58 psi where it should be. No leaks on the fittings. I can't really tell. We don't seem to be leaking over there. Let's go over there and check that. No. No leaks. Good pressure. Let's check up under here again. Fuel filter looks good. I don't see any leaks. We're good to go. Right, we can get this thing unplugged. And let's throw that tank back in. All right, so we got the fuel tank back inside of the car, and the fitting in the top hat was hitting the bottom of the car just a little bit, but it was nothing crazy. Took a hammer and tapped up out of the way, so now we got plenty of clearance on that. Also, I did throw a zip tie around the filter regulator, so that way it didn't fall out of the hanger or we have some kind of stupid problem like that. So we're good on that. The fuel lines are routed nice and neat, no kinks, no leaks, and that'll be pretty much it for the fuel system. I know I've seen a lot of guys talk shit about this fuel system, but it is more of a budget style fuel system. I think I have less than $300 wrapped up in it, and it's going to do what I need to get the Coyote started so we can see how it runs. On my next video, I'm probably going to work on the wiring, get that laid out, figure out how I'm going to route it out. I'm kind of figuring this out as I go, so we'll get that laid out in the next video. Also, I will show y'all how I'm going to trigger the fuel pump. That's going to wrap up this video. If you're enjoying my videos, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.